Shalom. Laha Alahayim. Peace to the gods. Nawathan. Kal. Halaliam La. Yahweh. Bahasham. Yahweh Shai. Bahasham. Racha HaKodash. Giving all praises to Yahweh in the name Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors unto the elder apostles, elder bishops, and the heads and elders of all the camps of Great Millstone GMS who do rule well, who I have learned this 100% truth from, who is the true leaders of all Israel, all the Hebrew Israelites today, whether you can receive that or not. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, those predestined spirits scattered abroad. Starting with the governing body in the kingdom to come, the 144,000, 12,000 men, prophets of each tribe of Yasha'Allah, Israel, as well as the innumerable multitude scattered abroad, those men, women, and children outside of the office of a prophet, rehearsing righteous acts to the best of their ability, believing on the gospel that was prophesied and preached from those prophets, as well as the one third men, women, and children here in Babylon the Great. This is your brother Tazapanya of the Great Millstone, Washington, D.C. camp, Adawan, Marthazar, Lord willing. This quick hit digital epistle is edifying to the elect. So as you can see in the topic, it says, title, it says NBA gambling scandal. It was all over the news. Was at the gym today looking up at the TVs. This was all over it. You know what I'm saying? It's on obviously YouTube and everything. But Jason Whitlock, right? He interviewed Bishop Nathaniel, like Elder Pastor Hart like to say, of the IURC before and everything. But I said that he might get canceled for talking about the you know who, the 48ers, the hook nose gentrifying, bagel and cream cheese eating, artificial curly sideburn wearing tiny top, small hats. Okay. And I didn't think he was gonna say it. I'm like, yo, get to the point. And it took up to 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm gonna start it from the top. All right. But what we dealing with here is Chauncey Billups. Because remember, Gilbert Arenas about 2 weeks ago or a week ago got locked up for this same thing. And that was the beginning, the pretense. All right. He used to play for the Washington Wizards. Chauncey Billups, he played for the Detroit Pistons. I don't know who Terry Rozier played for. All right. Might have been the Miami Heat or something like that. But either way, all right. So, I was listening to Elder Pastor Hart video earlier, and he was like, "Yeah, you get into they even said, not him, but that in certain documents, maybe even LeBron James is in there, whatever." But he was like, "Yo, you rich, and yet you still want to get more money," and they're trying to tie them to the Italian mafia. Okay, um, which is a little crazy because we know through the spirit because of the Moors, the Moorish Salakia. I just knew that was gonna happen. I just knew that was gonna happen, bro. It's back on deck. Lord willing. Lord willing, let's stay. Lord willing. All right. The Moorish conquest into southern Italy, France, and Spain and Portugal, primarily speaking. There is a lot of so-called Europeans that are descendants of the Israelites, even though they may look like heathen nations, right? And specifically to Sicilians, because Sicily is a whole island off of the coast of Italy. Okay, so it's not even a part of the mainland. But let's just get into it. I got a precept lined up. See where the Holy Spirit takes us. Without further ado.
Was one of these investigators or assistant attorney generals that got up and spoke and was going over the details of these arrests and of this investigation. and he kept talking about the Gambino family, the Genovese family, and these Italian organized crime elements that they were proud and honored and enthusiastic about taking down. And I'm listening to it and I'm clapping. I'm This is great. He's speaking boldly. And this is necessary. I think the sports world has been overrun with this gambling element that has been ushered in. But
So why has the sports world been overrun with this gambling element? Ultimately, because it's rigged. Okay? When you go back into the great the roaring, what was it, 20s? Harlem, Renaissance, things of that nature, the numbers game, things of that nature, right? All of these so-called seeming like they're fair games, but ended up knowing where you hear the term, oh, the house always wins. Okay. All of these sports industries, entertainment industries, these bread and circuses that goes back to the Roman Empire, it is all rigged and constructed for a certain amount of people to win. And they allow certain things to, move up, win a couple things, this and that and the third, to feel like you have some hope in getting rich quick so that you spend your hard-earned money to do these certain type of things. And Esau knows that people want to get out of their oppression so badly that they're willing to, where the term, let's say gamble, because you don't have any evidence. You're kind of like moving off of faith with your money and off of a game that you did not create, right? In order to think that you can win something um that could, free you out of or redeem you, right? Going back to the curses, out of your situation. But you know how many people have actually, let's say, won the lottery, even Jake, and then went broke the next year, 2 years. So you can't, you know, run away from these things. But he's saying that on one hand, and I'm about to play the rest where he said he's going to go into the other hand. On one hand, he's clapping because he's a sports guy, right? But he's going to get a little bit more deep as far as the macro understanding and aerial view of why we're in this situation in America.
the other part of me was like, oh, this is an incomplete description of what's going on. This isn't just Italian organized crime. That just scratches the surface. That tells an incomplete story. This is about Black organized crime, Italian organized crime, and Jewish organized crime.
Uh-oh, there we go. Jewish organized crime. I think I should be able to say that should be good on the video. All right. But yeah, as you can hear, so he's bringing up, so what is he about to say to these people? Now, 2 out of 3 of the people I think are Israelites. Because the ones that was really in the mafia, you don't have really northern Italians that was doing this mafia thing. It was really Sicilians. And what happens is that Jake come to America thinking that they're going to be on an equal playing field with the so-called American dream, and then they're discriminated against, and then they try to take advantage of the so-called rights in the Constitution and things of that nature to put themselves in a position to take care of, family and live the type of lifestyle that they want to live. So, just like the Irish, right? Just like the Sicilians, they came over here, they got discriminated against, and they wasn't on that equal playing field, so they turned to crime, which Jake, meaning the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, they have done that as well, and they haven't, let's say, done it on a higher level or a more notorious level, as the so-called Italian speckled birds, right? Because of probably the physical phenotype that the Negroes have, so-called Negroes have, compared to the passing white Sicilians. But remember, your spirit bears witness that we are the sons of the living power, and you could tell a Sicilian compared to a Northern Italian. All right, and if you're in a different state other than New York, specifically New York City, Jersey, Philly, maybe even Boston to a certain degree, all right, they're gonna understand the talking point on where how. I mean, shit, you could just watch movies and you can understand and see the spirit that is different. I'm of the generation we grew up watching, Jersey Shore, little, when reality TV and things of that nature was coming about, and you could see certain of them, not all of them, but certain of them was like, yeah, they move differently compared to your so-called, regular Edomite, man. That luxury, lavish, that coolness or whatever. Okay, but watch what he say on the other hand.
But you can't say, and you can't find an a law enforcement official, a big high place one that I remember that's ever had a press conference and said, "Man, we're bringing down black organized crime." I
Because there is no such thing as black organized crime. Judah can't be organized when it comes to crime. They're under the curses. Okay, that brother. Let's see if we could just go get it. Deuteronomy 28. All right. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And Jake know that because they'll even be evil towards people. Let's say they a gang member. Crips would fight Crips, kill Crips. Bloods will kill Bloods. Vice lords will kill vice lords. Gangster disciples will kill gangster disciples. Black disciples will kill black disciples. Soreños will kill soreños. Nietas will kill nietas. Latin kings will kill Latin kings. Okay, so there is no loyalty amongst thieves, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Amongst the outlaws, so to speak. That's even another term, outlaws, because there's supposed to be a certain type of law. But the point here is that, like he said, there is no law enforcement official to go against black organized crime. It was only an Italian crime. So what that make me think is that the so-called Italian crime, which I do think is mostly speckled bird, Jake, they was only organized because of one, their phenotype, and they was able to maneuver throughout Edomite supremacy in America a lot easier than Southern Kingdom Jake, right? And the fact that they uh was coming from the old world compared to being brought up in this in America, in Babylon, okay, and other factors. Um and being a scapegoat, so to speak, for true organized crime, dealing with Amalekites, which is your tiny tops, and the rest of the Edomites. You see what I'm saying? Your American British Edomite, your American German Edomite, your American, you know, whatever, wherever, Polish or whatever, Edomite. Okay, so like you use them as a runner, and then of course they'll make their money, and then they try to come together because of their so-called nationality, and then try to demonize them specifically in the 80s with what's the dude name, John Gotti, and you know all of these type of people. the movies and the things like that. But watch what he say.
Don't remember it. You guys hop in the chat. You guys email me. You guys hit me up on Twitter, where any high ranking law enforcement official has ever held a press conference and said anything about black organized crime and we need to take it down and stop it. And then if you find that example, then I dare you to find the example where they talk about Jewish organized crime.
Oh, you hear that?
Find me those examples. And so this isn't me in any way defending the Gambinos, the Genoveses, the whomever. This is me like, hey, why can't we tell the full story about what's really at work here? And if you look at the
So a guy that's been working for the sports industry for about 20, 30 years maybe, he has been behind them circles. If he's a smart individual, I mean, he Jake, so he know what's going on. He's not on ESPN or Fox. I think it was Fox Sports or whatever. So he knows who's the power players, who's the shot callers when it comes to these leagues and organizations. You see? And he know it's not his people. And watch what he said.
sports world, and if you look at the NBA, who runs the NBA?
That's a big question right there. Because Kanye was canceled for this when it comes to the hip hop industry. All right. Other people are canceled to this when they talk about the porno industry, when they talk about the movie industry in Hollywood, when they talk about the banking industry and the central banks, when they talk about all these different industries that are very lucrative in Babylon the Great, which is America pursuing the prophecy in the scriptures. Okay. When they say who is the actual controllers of these industries. Okay. Watch this.
Who have been the commissioners of the NBA?
Whoa.
Who are
Because who's the commissioner of the NBA right now? An Amalekite.
predominantly the owners of NBA franchises?
Who's predominantly the owners of NBA franchises? Continue on.
Who are the people that have ushered in, and this is in the NFL as well, but
Uh-oh. So this is in the NFL as well. So this is not just an NBA thing. So there's a people. So when people, alternative media say, oh, the elites, the deep state, the cabal, the this, the that. Well, who are they? And it just so happens if you do enough research and you have the balls in order to say it, and the only ones who do, for the most part, all right, is those prophets on the street corners, specifically of the stock of Great Millstone. We let you know the true nationality of the people who have the control. Job 9 and 24. The earth has been given unto the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay. They run shit now because this is not a kingdom under Yahweh Shai. This is a kingdom under Shaitan. Okay. So he's able to see that to a certain degree. That's why I say, yo, will he get canceled? I don't know. Because when you start pinpointing certain shit and giving up, the scriptures say in Second Thessalonians, I'm gonna get that as well. I'm gonna get that as well. Matter of fact, let's go and get it right now. Second Thessalonians, bada boom, bada bing. Second Thessalonians, chapter 2, and verse 8. It says, and then shall the wicked, we know who the wicked are, pursuant to Malachi chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. The Edomites, the people that the Lord hath indignation, righteous anger, forever be revealed, whom the Lord, that's Yahweh Shai, shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, that's his prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. That's the fathership, the so-called UFOs coming back with the army, okay? The hosts of heaven. All right, so the wicked is being revealed. That's the point, okay? And now people, secular people, are starting to understand who is having the power and who's running shit and doing all this wickedness and evil amongst the earth, man.
Not as pronounced, but who's ushered in all the gambling elements and partnered with the gambling elements? And then who had the people that are primarily in control of the NBA? Who are their players? Who are the entertainers that they pay this large sums of money to entertain people on the court? And then who have those players befriended and operate with and watch the movies about and fantasize about being like them? This is a league dominated by Jews.
Uh-oh. 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 That's a very controversial statement right there. Very controversial. But the fact that he says it is showing you the type of talking points that we're in 2025. The hopeful year of the destruction of Esau and the deliverance, the destruction and judgment of Esau and the deliverance of the elect, Lord willing. The NBA, and we're talking about billions of multi-billions of dollars, maybe even more than that in the NBA. And then he said the NFL, but we know exactly it's all industries, okay? And then they're doing this pretty much as a distraction of what's going on in other things in the world. There's a lot of psyops that's going on because you for poker games and things of that nature, you locking people up, putting it on the media. Who controls the media to push that, right? When there is real heinous crimes going on in the world, makes you wonder.
Players that are black
Uh-oh.
who think, many of them think because of hip hop culture, who think that they're Italian mafia bosses.
Right. So you see that? So he just gave, and that's what I'm gonna leave it at that. He said that the NBA is run by Amalek, but the players that they play to have as entertainers to be shook and jive, bucks on a court playing with fucking balls and paying millions of dollars to do so is primarily Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, specifically Judah, and thinking that they're speckled bird Sicilian Italian mafia bosses because of the wise to do evil. But they're sottish children, as it says in Jeremiah. All right, because of the social construct that was created with this whole white and black thing. When I've seen on TikTok even Sicilian women talking about I'm not white, but she looked like a dead ass white girl, but she's trying to prove to people because her spirit is like I don't resonate with the people that the world calls white. Imagine that. You look like a so-called white girl, but you pushing I'm Italian, I'm Sicilian, but you do not resonate with the rest of the white people in the world. That shows you this thing is spiritual. It's not about the phenotype. It's about your spirit. But I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna go to Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31. It says, envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Because where do you think the so-called Italian mafia learned their ways from? It was from the Amalek mafia. Okay. When you go into Siegel, and who else? A couple of, going into the history in the early 1900s during the Prohibition era, in Chicago and the gangs in New York and things of that nature, and who was doing the drive-by shootings and all that. It was all Amalek. And then people envied their ways and how they got that money, probably specifically the Irish and the Sicilian, And then Judah was like, yo, after they made movies about it, they was like, yo, I like that. Why would Judah say, yo, I want to be like that? You see what I'm saying? Because Judah resonates with a certain type of vibration that the Sicilian, standards and moral codes and, blood in, blood out, and, this and that and the third. He's a made man. Yo, he gonna get whacked compared to anybody else because it's all spiritual. All right. So I just wanted to bring this out regarding the current event and what's going on right now, and definitely is a distraction. But the fact that the wicked is being revealed, okay, to the point where secular people, everybody's calling out the Amalekites, and that is just one tribe. All right, one Duke Amalek, to all of the rest of the dukes of the sons of Esau. All right. And they're going to be the ones, because of all of this knowledge that's coming out here, the least of the flock. They're going to draw America out, all right, to make something bigger, right, to put the target off of them from their perspective. So Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. On to the next one. Shalom.